Hey y'all, it's JesDyr and I'm doing another tutorial. This one is on how to do straight staircases with, surprise, the circle tool. Yes, you can do straight staircases with the circle tool. It's actually one of the easier ways to build staircases in EQ2, especially with the layout editor, I should say. So yeah, let's get going. First thing you want to do is make sure that your moving crate has all of the items you need in it. In this case, I'm using the Bench of the Befallen as my stair. You can use pretty much anything as your stairs as long as they are solid. You could use books, you could use tiles, you could use actual stair building blocks, you could use blocks and columns and tables and shelves, and I don't know, you could use trees or bushes or rocks. I think I said that already. Basically, if it's a house item and it's solid, you can use it as a stair. It might sometimes look a little odd, but you know, you're only limited by your imagination. However, I like to use the Bench of the Befallen for these stairs because they are an item that, as you can see, it's very easy to tell where the front and the back is. So it's very easy to tell what happens when you turn it a certain way. So make sure that the item is in your moving crate, and then save your width file. I am lagging at the moment. Oh, there we go. Now it's saved. Yay! But my game is lagging a little bit, so this loading things in the game are going to take a little bit. Alright, so we have our game bit done for now. And we're going to go to the layout editor, file, which you can't see the drop down, unfortunately, because of a compatibility problem with not only the layout editor and Open Broadcaster software, the software I use, but a compatibility problem with Open Broadcaster software and laptop video cards. So anyway, file, open my width file, and here is a layout file with 692 items in the house and 101 items in the crate. That's, a little much, and if you're building stairs or whatever, you want to make sure you know exactly what you're going with. So that's where the different tools of the layout editor and groups come in. It's very, very useful this way. So I'm going to go to the crate because I need the item ID for my item. In this case, it's Bench of the Befallen and it's right on top. But if, say, you have, I don't know, 1,000 items in your moving crate and you don't want to go scrolling through everything looking for the item that you need, you can just click the manifest button and it will list the names of the different items you have. I just sorted it by item name, so it's alphabetical, and it'll list the count of each item that you have, and it'll give you the item ID, which is exactly what I need. So I'm going to select it now, and I'm going to Control C. That's just how I prefer to do it. I don't like to right click and click copy because I feel like that takes a little bit of extra time, but whatever floats your boat. If you prefer to right click and copy, then go for it, and if you prefer Control C, then yay, give me a high five. Anyway, so now that we have that saved, or copied I should say, and it's on our computer's clipboard, we're going to go to the Tools drop down, and I know you can't see it, I'm sorry, but you're going to go to Create Objects, Circle or Spiral. If you've never opened this window before, it looks really, really scary. It's not. It's actually pretty easy to use once you get the hang of it. And we can actually cover several of these right off the bat. Item ID, we know what that is. We just copied it from the crate tab. So we're going to erase the one, and in my case, Control V to paste. In your case, you might right click and select paste, whatever you prefer. Item name, it's pretty self-explanatory. Items have names, and usually you know the name of the item you're using. In this case, like I said, it's the Bench of the Befallen. You can see it right over off to the side. But you don't need to name it that. This item name here is for you. It's not necessary to call it the Bench of the Befallen. You could call it Stairway to Heaven. You could call it Staircase 1. You could call it Straight Western Staircase because, you know, we're doing a straight staircase instead of a spiral staircase. You could call it, I don't know, Stepping Stones to something or other. Whatever you want to call it so that you know what it is, it's fine. The game just needs to know the item ID. So that's how the game identifies it. That's all it needs to know. So in this case, because I don't feel like being imaginative right now, and I don't feel like building a Stairway to Heaven, we're going to do Bench of the Befallen. Yay! That was easy. That's 2 things down. And yes, you always want to have use UID from the crate checked, because that will make sure that, excuse me, hiccuping, that the game and the layout editor, but mostly the game, does not pull items from elsewhere in your house. Okay, so example here. Bench of the Befallen. It's right here. Say I didn't have this checked. The layout editor would then create fake UIDs, which are unique IDs, for each item. And that means that the game doesn't know which specific item to use. So if we look in the game itself, we can see I'm already using a lot of Benches of the Befallen right here. So if I build a straight staircase and I don't specify that it should use the UIDs that it has from the moving crate, it could choose, the game could choose to steal benches from these already built staircases, and that is a pain in the butt to fix. Because what happens if you built this great spiral staircase and you don't have the numbers that you used anymore? Suddenly there are holes in your spiral staircase, and it's really difficult to fix. You're probably going to have to rebuild the whole thing from scratch. Not that rebuilding from scratch is that difficult, but sometimes, you spend time tweaking it into position and turning it just a little bit and raising it and lowering it and moving it left and right and up and down and who knows what direction. So it's always better just to make sure that use UID from crate is checked and you have enough items for what you're doing in the moving crate. With that said, this is number of steps, the number of items you're using. So we know we had 10 benches of the Befallen in the moving crate, and well, that's because I decided I wanted to build a staircase that was 10 steps high. So we'll just put a 10 there. That's not difficult at all. So those are, a few of the boxes, and those are really easy to fill out despite how scary this whole thing looks. Group name, that's just what the layout editor will call this group. We're just going to call this straight staircase. That's not how you spell straight. Straight staircase tutorial. Okay. Now here's a drop down that looks really scary. Select the 2D plane. What the heck does that mean? That's actually not a difficult thing at all. Really, all you need to remember is, unless you're building a clock or an arch or some sort of circle-y type thing that's in the air, you're going to want a 2D plane. If you're doing a straight staircase, if you're doing a spiral staircase, if you're doing a circle on the floor, if you're doing a spiral on the floor, you want the XY plane floor. There's also the XZ plane, east-west, which would build you, like I said, a clock-style circle on facing either the east or the west, as you put in. So, it would be, your different items would be like the numbers on the clock, with each item at some position in a circle like that. And YZ plane does the same exact thing for the north and south. I don't know about you, but I personally don't find a staircase on the wall all that helpful. It doesn't, if you can't walk on it, you know, I'm sure it's some great modern art or something to have the staircase projecting from the wall, but it's not really useful. So that's not what we're going to do. We're going to put it on the floor because we want usable staircases in EQ2. Okay, so that took care of that. And now we look at center point. Normally, for a circle, center point would be the point where, you know, the center of your circle. In this case, for a staircase, your center point is either going to be your top step or your bottom step, depending on how you want to do things. So in this case, we're going to use it as our bottom step. So we're just going to pick a spot here because I didn't bother to build a little room like this like I did for the other staircase. I probably should have, but I didn't bother to. So we'll just pick right here, and we want to say /LOC to find out what our location is for our bottom step. And surprisingly, I'm at exactly -70, -1.08, and +7. I'm not sure how I managed that. I just managed to land exactly in that spot. So we're going to put that in, -70, -1.08, and +7. So that's going to be our first step, or the location of our first step. Total angle. Well, if you were building a circle is 360 degrees. But we're not building a circle. We're building a straight line, which means 0 degrees. We don't have to put anything there. 0 is perfect. It's lovely. It's exactly what we want. We're not touching that. Start angle would be the direction that your staircase builds in. In this case, it would be with W equals 0. It means that our staircase would build to the west. I kind of want to build it to the north, but for now I'm just going to leave it like that so you can see what happens. Radius is the distance from the center point that your first item winds up. And because we said this is our bottom step, we're leaving radius at 0. Z increase is the height increase between each item. So for stairs, you actually do want a Z increase. If you were doing a circle, you could leave it at 0, but a staircase, you want an increase. There are 2 ways to do this. You can tell the layout editor, I want a staircase that is 5 units tall, and it'll do it that way. So that would be just putting a 5 here. And then when you move, you can see the magical per step checkbox. That's the other way you can do it. You could say, well, no, I actually don't want to do a Z increase of 5 total because I don't know, or I haven't decided where my second floor is going to be. So I want to do, but I know that a staircase with stairs that are 0.5 units apart is a nice smooth rise. However, I prefer an even smoother one, so we're going to do 0.3. And we're going to say yes, we're going to do 0.3 per step. The other method, like like I said, if you have, if you know exactly how tall your floor is, so say you found your center point you found your location on the bottom, and then you went up to the next floor and you found your Z location for that, and you took the difference between the two. So if I'm in the game, here's my first step down here at -1.08, and oops, run into the thing there. My second step /LOC is at a Z location of 4.95. I could well, you know, if you remember your math, when you have a negative number like that, you would actually want to subtract it from 4. Okay, you would add 1.08 to 4.95 to find your total distance, which is a little bit over 6 in this case. Just a tiny, 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 tiny bit. So, you know, I could go in here and say, I don't want to figure out the exact numbers between, you mean the exact z increase per step between all of the 10 items if I have a 6 unit high thing. So I'm just going to say 6 units and let the layout editor do the math. That's where you would use that. And then if you just know the height that you want to do, we're going to, like I said, we're going to do 0.3 per step. All right, so that's good. That looks all great. So what is this radius increase thing? Well, radius increase actually is important for a straight staircase because each step is going to be a little bit further away from the original step, and that is a radius increase. So I will tell you right now that, in my opinion, the closest 2 steps should be together is 0.5 units. And the highest they should be apart is 0.5 units. So that would give you a 45-degree angle staircase. And that's nice. I wouldn't go any steeper than that. But I prefer more of a 0.3. If I'm doing a 0.3 height increase, then I usually want about a 0.5 or 6 radius increase. And if I'm doing a 0.5 height increase or z increase, then I usually want about a 0.8 because it gives a less steep look to the staircase. So, but it depends also on space. You know, sometimes you don't have the space to have a staircase that's not as steep, because the steeper the staircase is, the less space lengthwise it takes up. So let's just go with 0.6 so you can see what this is like. Do we want it 0.6 per step? Yes, we want it per step. Every step should be 0.6 further away from the first one. The radius percent increase per step is an option which I have not really played with. It is something that instead of, you know, you could do a, basically this is interesting. The tooltip on that is interesting. Anyways, it's something you can do some cool stuff with, but it's not really relevant to this tutorial. So, back to, we only have a couple of boxes left, and these are item start rotations, which are exactly like the rotations and stuff that is on that's on the normal editor right here. So whatever you fill in for the start rotations, chances are it's going to be identical when you build it in here. So do we need to pitch our stairs at all? No, because our bench is already flat the way we want it. Do we need to rotate? We might, but I'm going to leave that at 0 for right now just so you can see. Do we need to roll? No, our stairs look great straight. Do we need to scale the item at all? That's up to you. I'm going to leave it at 1 right now so that you guys can see what's going on. Okay, so with all that, we've filled out every single box, and we're gonna hit create. You can watch it steal them from this create tab. Okay, so here we go. Look at this, isn't it pretty? Now we're gonna save the group. I like to save it as working so that I have that macro to load it in game. Save. And here's the moment of truth. Let me move out of the way so that I don't get an item stuck. I don't get stuck in an item. Load it. At, did anyone else see that? That it just totally popped over and ate me? That is not cool, EQ2. That was really not cool. Okay, I am stuck. Let me create these. Go here, load it, and I swear I was not that close. Alright, uncreate it, load it, there we go. Okay, so this is our staircase, and not a bad staircase, but like I said, it goes west because our start rotation was 0, which is west. And you can play around with start rotations. You can actually get these stairs to go at any angle you want by changing the start rotation. So let me show you. Let me create. So what I do is if I'm playing with the numbers in the circle editor, I tell it to create my current staircase so that the game, once again, knows that the items are in the crate. As you can see, crate just jumped back to 101. And then I say delete group. Say tools, create object, circle or spiral, straight staircase tutorial. So let's change our start angle to 45. No, let's do negative 45. Alright. Now we will say create, and it uses the same 10 items. Save it. Go back to the game. Load working. And ta-da! We have a staircase at a 45-degree angle. Now say your house is kind of built on a weird angle. It's at a 62-degree angle because of the terrain. You wanted to build it at a 62-degree angle. So let's go to create object, circle or spiral, and we will put negative 62 and see what happens. Ugh, I hate every time I tab back into the game it pops me up to looking somewhere else. Load it, and look at that. It's at this weird angle here, 62 degrees, and yet it's in a perfectly straight line. Isn't that awesome? It is actually very awesome. Alright, so that's cool, but like I said, I wanted a staircase to the north. So let's create, delete it, tools, create object, circle or spiral. And we're going to say negative 90 because right now that is the direction that will get you north. When JesDyr comes out with his next layout editor, I believe negative 90 will be south instead, but for now it's north. I could be wrong about that. What matters is right now negative 90 is north, as you can see. Ta-da! Negative 90, north. I have a staircase. This is lovely. Okay, so we're looking at our staircase and we say, oh, well, I don't know. I want it to be further. I mean, I want my steps to be longer so that there's more of a distance between having to step up each time, because I want this grand staircase and I want you to feel minuscule, and so to do that I want to spread them out more. Okay, that's not too difficult. I mean, we can see right here that we need to raise it just a little bit, and we need to move it back probably another 0.5 units. So we'll raise it 0.2 and move it back 0.5. So we're going to go back to layout editor, create, delete group, tools, create object, circle or spiral. We say Z increase, we said we wanted to raise it 2, so raising it 2 when it's already 0.3, that's 0.5. 0.5 is as high as you want to go for stairs. Otherwise, you start getting caught on them because your character needs to do a little hop instead of just being able to run straight up it. So technically, yes, you could go higher than 0.5, but it's not as efficient for a staircase. Okay, radius increase. I said that it was going to be another 0.5, so that actually is 1.1 if we add them together. 0.6 plus 0.5, 1.1. Okay, Say create because we don't need to change anything else. Say save group, go to the game, and I didn't pop and look in a weird direction that time. That's pretty awesome. Load working. Ooh, that was too far. 1.1 is too far, so let's try let's try 1. Let's try 1. So yes, there is a little bit of guessing, of trial and error here, but it's a lot faster, as you can see, than trying to rebuild the staircase by hand if you decide that it's not what you want. Nope. 1 is not enough, so let's try 0.9. 0.9. Right here, 0.9. Cross your fingers, hope it's the right one. And load it. Ooh, almost there, almost there. Because I forgot that this part in here dips. And so you probably don't want it to be like that. So you probably want it to be, I'd say, 0.7. You know, I have a better idea. Let's just try blowing everything up. Let's try a scale 1.2. Scale. Save it. I hate doing that. Load it. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Now that's a staircase that I'm feeling is pretty elegant right there. Of course, the first step is it has to be lower since the bench has feet. So let's go back and we will lower everything by 1. Let's see what happens. Oop, that was way too low. Oh, but that's a good thing because we know that the height between each stair is, I said it was 0.9, correct? Yeah, 0.9. So if it's all the way down like this, that means as if it were the stair below. So we'll raise it. No, I think I just confused myself. I don't think I want to raise it 0.9, but we'll find out. I think 0.9 is too high. Yeah, 0.9 is too high. Alright, so let's drop it 0.5. Oh no, that's north-south that was... It's 0.5. Alright, so 0.1 up because... Now I'm just confusing myself. Basically, I'm trying to find the right number to... There we go, I was right. Okay, it is 0.5. So, there's my staircase. That's lovely. Now, the thing to remember is that you cannot sync items if you are in a room that is above another room. And it's a default build. So, like, if you built a house in the Tenebris Tangle and then you sank it, that's fine. If you're in a Freeport house and you're in a room that's above, like, the basement or something, or if you're on the second floor, which is above a room in the first, that has, you know, on the first floor, you cannot sync the items. Well, that's not technically true. You can sync the items, but if you sync the items, they will disappear. They disappear because the game thinks that the item is in the room below you, because now the items, the point that it's anchored by, is in the room below you. So the item the game goes, oh, it's not in this room anymore. It's in the other room, and since you can't actually see it, I'm gonna save some processing power for you by not rendering it. So it disappears, and you're sitting there going, where did my stairs go? And well, what happened was the game thought it was helping you out, and really it was being a big jerk. So that's a straight staircase. Using the circle tool, you can get it to face any direction you want it to. Just have to tweak the start rotation number. I think it's called start rotation. I always get confused about the different start angle. I call it start rotation. Start rotation is down here. It's start angle. So if you change the start angle, that changes which direction the stairs face. And I think that's it. I can't think of anything else. So this question was brought to you by, pardon me if I'm having trouble remembering the name, Sokaran? I know the player's name better than I know the character's name. So yes, I think it's Sokaran. They're in my guild. I really should know. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Lots of people. Yes, Sokaran. So Sokaran, thank you for asking how to build a straight staircase using the layout editor. Hopefully this answered your question. And I hope this was helpful to everyone else. So, happy decorating and thanks for watching.